camera. Don't forget the lens cap. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna forget it. I'm not gonna forget the lens cap this time. Monday. It's Monday. Oh my God. Like buttons. Like buttons on Monday. Everybody's got to hit the like button on Monday. Oh my God. Monday, Monday, Monday. This is the Monday song. Oh my God. Am I louder than the music? Am I louder than the music? This is the intro part. Guys, this is the intro part. We're an introvert. When does the song end? Does anybody know when the song ends? I think this is the end. Oh my God, it's the end of the song. Oh, look. Oh, there it goes. Now it loaded. Look at that response time from the... what do you call that? This shit in the corner. What do we call this? Text. The overlay. Text overlay. Oh my God. Text overlay, everybody. Just sit back and think about, oh my God, how great is that text overlay? It's mind-bending. It'll blow your mind. The next thing you know, pee pants. Boom. It's so good. It'll make you pee your pants. Where did my chat go? I lost my chat. It's Monday. Can anyone tell? Oh my God, can anyone tell that it's Monday? There's a giant truck driving around outside. I don't know what's going on. I heard a train horn blowing this morning. I think somebody was on the train tracks. Guys. I didn't see a crime scene. I didn't see any kind of crime scene, okay? Did not see tape or any of that when I was going to the lumber yard earlier today. So I don't think anyone died, but maybe they were just in the way and it was a slow train and they were just honking a lot. I don't understand. My daughter was playing with this microphone yesterday and it's all out of whack, my bros. I thought I fixed it, but I don't feel like it's sufficiently been fixed. I think I tightened it all up. Look at that waggle. Do we like the waggle? Who likes the microphone waggle? Is it good? Oh, my God. People are going to write home to their senator. Does this have... I don't think I have the right Allen wrench. Guys, it's like when you're putting together IKEA furniture, you know, and you're like, dude, where's the Allen wrench that came with it? I don't know, bros. I don't know. Oh, sweet mother of pearl. I don't have the Allen wrench. I'm sorry. Adam Foster says, I'll sit in my pee pants all day, Chip. That's right. Legit. Love it. But happy Monday to everybody. Hopefully you're having a fantastic time. It is April 22nd, 2024, the year of our Lord, right? Our Lord and Savior. The sun. Who's the sun god? Apollo? Is Apollo the sun god? Who's the sun god? I don't know. Who cares? We'll find one. Solar deity. Apollo. Yeah, I was right. Helios is the god of the sun. Okay, Helios is the god of the sun, and Apollo is the god of light and justice. Okay, so I was close. Helios. The year of our Lord, 2024. The year of our Lord, Helios. There we go. Helios. Oh, Helios. Bow down. He's our savior. He's our glorious savior, the sun god. Or Ra, I guess. I guess you could pick Ra. Ra could be one if you want to go Egyptian. I was looking at these fish the other day. Oh, I have to show you. Guys, I have to show you with images these fish. Look at that. Look at this feature. Look at this screen feature. I was looking at these guys the other day. I saw a video that was kind of interesting about them. And I thought to myself, hey, self. Hey, it's me. It's me talking to me. I was like, hey, me, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, straight chilling, bro. And then I laid down on the ground and took a nap. You know? Helios style. Ah, got him every time. Every time. You guys fall for it every time. Every time, the Helios style. I was looking at these fish the other day. Oh, and now you're not looking at the picture I'm looking at, and it makes me sad. That's why I get feisty with this remove button sometimes. As you guys remember last week, I removed the camera. These guys right here. There we go. There's a better picture. Look at this. This is the one I'm looking at. Look at these. Hot and fresh. I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to say this right. Nanostomus. They're nanostomus. I know that part, but the Mortenthalari, I don't know. I think I'm probably saying that wrong, but these guys are quite cool. And then I realized, holy crap, the wet spot carries them, and those guys are in Portland, Oregon. And Portland, Oregon is not out of reach. It's not out of reach from yours truly. I could drive my silly ass all the way down to Portland, Oregon, or I guess I could order them via mail carrier service from the United States Postal Service, the only way to use mail, right? As we all know. The United States Postal Service, far superior than all of the other postal services out there, whether it be UPS trying to steal up on the USPS's thunder by acting like, oh, look, our name's close, it's the same. And then half of their shipping being done by the United States Postal Service, or even more than that. Or Amazon, who's like, look, it's just the Amazon truck that brought it to you. Nope, it's the United States Postal Service. I think does 90% of their shipping. Yeah. USPS, Amazon percentage. I looked this up a while ago, and I remember it was a lot. Amazon accounts for 1/3 of all parcel select deliveries. The last mile delivery service that generates $9.2 billion of the Postal Service's $32 billion in package revenues. That means we rely on Amazon for about 10% of package delivery revenues. Right? Maybe I'm reading that wrong. I don't know. I don't know how to read so good or use my brain good. So, those are all features that I bring to this live stream on Monday. Just coming out of the pocket. And my fucking... God damn it! Shut up! Okay. You guys, that fucking fan back there decided to go into overdrive mode, and I can't stand it. So I had to turn it off. I can't take it anymore. He was creating rage in my heart. Oh my God, we have a caller in the green room. It's Witchy Cat. What are you doing? I hear you.
I am laughing at you because you are amusing.
Mother of pearl, you're so loud. Oh my God, hold on a second. I got my shit's turned up. It's so loud. I don't know what's going on. Oh, you rocked my socks off when you started talking. Oh my God, hold on. My volume is up to 9,000. Okay, hold on. Check. Give me a check. Audio check. Oh God, it sounds normal now. Okay, sounds normal. Testes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Hold on.
There's someone else here.
Okay, I lost my chat. Oh my God, who's here? Is that Derek?
Who's here?
Who is that? Derek. I think it's Derek. I don't know. I can't read that. I can't.
Yeah, Derek. I just might sound a little different because I've been dealing with an awful cold for like 3 weeks.
Oh my God! Did you get the baby cold from the children?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The germ missile cold, yeah. And
those children's.
Over the weekend because of him too. So,
it was funny last week. My birthday was last week, right? And my dad was like, "Oh, hey, maybe I'll come down to visit," which that's always the thing that he says. He never actually does come down to visit, but he does the like, "Well, I was going to come down and visit you, but then I, oh, doop-a-doop," you know. But he actually was like, "Yeah, I actually have a cold, so I'm not going to come visit." I was like, "Oh my God, it's a viable reason to not come visit." And so if those of you guys that have been watching whatever the hell I've been doing on YouTube for 1,000 years, my mother was an ER charge nurse for almost like 50 years. My dad was a head custodian for school district. So you imagine that my parents brought home every cootie under the sun because they were just surrounded by sick people. And then I was sick. And so I was like, "Dad, whatever you got, whatever you managed to, like, whatever managed to infiltrate your old man body and has made you sick, I don't want it because it's going to make me sick. I don't want whatever it is." You know? But how's the recovery going? You feeling better now?
Yeah, I mean, the stomach bug was a 2-day thing.
Oh.
It's just super weird because the last couple times that we've had it was definitely from his daycare, but I'm very used to like, a 12 to 24-hour stomach bug, and this was like it didn't go from person to person for like 48 to 72 hours, and then it lasted 3 days.
Oh.
So it was like, "Oh, yep, no, we're good. Like no one else got it. It was just him." And then, Thursday night, I was like, I feel really awful. And still having like a residual cough, from
yeah, it's that whole like, wait a minute, something
Yep.
I don't feel something feels wrong.
Yep.
Like,
I
oh,
don't
God.
feel right. Apparently, my telltale sign for me is my knees start to hurt, like ache really bad. And that's when I know like I'm getting some sort of illness, and that's like 12 hours before I'm wanting to just sleep and do nothing else.
Right. You're like, I have to lay down now, and
Yep.
I'll be back. You're like, when will you be back?
Yep.
I don't know. There's no.
Doing better now, but this cough is just it's super annoying. It's not painful. It doesn't hurt. It's just any extended period of time. If I want to like laugh at something, I just have to cough, and it's awful.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you guys, but in my neck of the woods, the trees have started spurging out.
Yeah.
Everywhere. There's dust all over the car every morning, or the truck every morning. I'm gonna run out of wiper fluid. I'm gonna have to refill my wiper fluid here pretty soon, because there's just pollen everywhere. So there's also that added like, well, maybe this is just allergies. Maybe I'll be okay. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, I think I am dead. And they're like, no, you're moving around. You're making sounds. You're like, no, I think I died. I might be the first zombie, But they don't ever fall for it. And they don't ever give up their free brains.
But the running joke in my family is because my birthday is in the beginning of April, and since I was 2 up until probably when I was 25 or so, I would get at least a really bad cold that would turn into some form of like bronchitis every single year. So I was like, oh, that's definitely what's happening again this year, and except it went around to everybody in the family, and I was like, it's definitely not allergies this year. So I definitely like having April birthdays is like, sometimes it snows, sometimes the pollen's crazy, sometimes it's 60 degrees and sunny.
Yeah, I don't get the snow thing. The snow thing it does not compute when it happens on my birthday. Like, it doesn't make any sense in my brain. I'm like, why the hell is it snowing right now? This is pointless. It's fruitless. Like, it's not even gonna keep. It's not gonna take. One day, I think like, I want to say like, I don't know, 2004 or something like that. It was my birthday, and I had to go into work because, the opener just decided to like not show up. Anyhow, so I had to go in super early, and then I called in somebody else, but they were like, yeah, I'll be there at noon or whatever, right? And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. I could still go do some stuff for my birthday. And it was cold when I went in early, And then by noon, it was snowing, which was awesome.
Yep.
Because then I left work and I was like, fucking great. It's snowing now. This is fantabulous. Like,
I think country was it longitude? I always get them mixed up. I get them split or reversed. But I think we're along the same kind of line weather-wise. We're just on opposite ends of the country. So I definitely get the random weather things. The joke that we have is like you can see all 4 seasons in a single day.
let me check what my longitude latitude is where I'm at. Oh, crap. It doesn't come up with it? Okay, hold on. What's my coordinates? It doesn't know where I am. Oh, good.
I'm 40 months.
Hey, man, for once, like, the fucking internet doesn't know, the computer doesn't know where I am. Look at that. It's fantabulous. Does this fucking website
I always
work?
block my location on my browser, so it always complains.
I'm definitely blocked, and it's always asking me questions like, "Hey, have you? Did you move? Because we're not sure what you're doing. Can you give us more information? Can you give us permissions?" It's like, no, fuck you. You ain't getting nothing, robot.
Yep.
Although, I mean, the thing is, when Skynet drops the bombs, it's not going to drop it on my house. It's just going to drop it in the area, and I'm going to die anyhow. So, there's that. Have either of you watched the new Fallout?
No, it's on my list, and I mean, I grew up playing it, so it's one of those things that I definitely want to watch. It's so far behind in my backlog of things to watch.
Dude, people always get mad at me. People always get mad at me because they're like, dude, all you ever do is like rag on stupid shit in movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Which is true. But I have to admit, like the Fallout TV show that came out on Amazon, very well done. Now, here's the thing. I didn't realize it was Christopher Nolan's brother who made it. That's my interpretation. Somebody told me, it was like, yeah, it's Christopher Nolan's brother. And I think I should look that up now. Hold on. The TV show. TV show. I'm getting the game developers. They all popped up.
Yeah.
Based on Fallout, cinematography, composed. What the?
Yeah, executive producers Jonathan Nolan.
Right. I'm like, okay, so you can look it up faster than I can. Well, truth be told, next time we'll just ask Derek what the hell's going on because he can look it up. And I'm over here like, hey, have you guys ever heard of this internets, man? It's coming through the tubes.
A lot of my job is to literally Google things for people, and tell them information. So I'm usually pretty fast about finding it.
Oh, so you work at like Amazon Fresh, then, basically. Did you hear about
It's the education. Yeah, I did. I think that was not true though. I
What's
had
that?
somebody that sent me an article saying it wasn't true.
That they outsourced the stores?
Yeah.
No, they actually did.
They outsourced the
That's why they've canceled the store because they can't get the AI to actually work properly, and somebody used a quick patch for the Amazon store. They just basically hired people to watch on the cameras and then just get it close, right? Just to get a close approximation. If you miss something, it's not that big of a deal, but as long as it's working, then they would get approved in their department to keep going forward. But they can't get it to work right. Because the big issue is it's not so much that did this person pick up the thing? It's did they actually leave with it, right? That's the bigger issue because it's like you could pick a thing up, carry it around the store, and leave it on a different shelf. The robot's not going to know. The robot will know that, oh, you picked it up, which is a machine could easily do that, but the machine can't reference what the hell you're doing later on. I mean, it will eventually. I mean, admittedly, somebody's going to make a machine that's so powerful that it just will force its way through, but we're not there yet, but it's coming. It might be 30 years from now, though. That's the big issue.
Personally.
What's that?
I think it'll be less than that personally. I actually, in my day job, part of my like thing that I work on. I do a lot of IT stuff, so we're actually working on like leveraging AI for education stuff with uh, so that it makes everybody's lives easier, and the improvements and advancements that we've seen in even less than a year is pretty crazy. So I'm I'm definitely interested to see how that stuff goes because I love not having to talk to people and just check out. So I love the idea of it, but I think there definitely needs to be a lot of
Well, you
things
can just
that
do that with online shopping. The online shopping
yeah,
already figured that out,
you're
right?
right.
And like the other aspect of this is that the self check, right? Self check was essentially brought on board, and whether people want to argue with me or not, feel free. But self check was brought on board so that companies could save money on labor, right? Because companies are shit. Corporations are garbage. They're trash. They're the worst fucking thing you could think of. They're pretty much responsible for everything. No. But yes, they're always constantly trying to cut labor, right? It's like, we got to cut these labor dollars. But corporations are investing in self-checkout for the only reason was to save money on labor for having somebody be a cashier, right? Now, if you want to look at it through rose-colored glasses, you could say, well, they'll still have the same amount of employees, but those employees will be helpful, right? What was sold was the idea originally. Actually, John Oliver covered this part about the ATM thing. When ATMs went in, people like revolted against ATMs, but banks were able to have more tellers on the payroll, so that when you went into the bank, you could get helped with all the weird shit you need to do, and you didn't need to go into the bank to make a simple withdrawal. Like, you didn't need a person to do that. So the idea was sold to these corporations that, like, well, hey, you're going to save all this money on labor, and now your labor can be used more effectively by helping customers that come in. They never kept on the employees. That's the thing. That corporations brought in the self-check. They cut the employees. Then they expected the same level of service from all these people that are constantly having to go help at the self-check thing that's all fucked up all the time. But the bigger issue is that people started stealing like crazy. And what I think it is I think it has more to do with people just ringing in stuff and, like, I don't know, maybe I missed 2 items while I was there. I don't care. I don't work here. Like, I'm not gonna like double check my receipt, go through all my items. Oh no, I forgot to ring in these mangoes or whatever. I'm gonna go back to the grocery store and be like, hey, here's your $6.42, man. I shorted you on those mangoes back there. Like, it's just fucking gone. And I would say that most of the air quote shrinkage is what they call it had to do with that more than anything else, because even Walmart is getting rid of the self-check, and if you want to use the self-check, you have to pay an extra $100 a year.
Yeah,
which is
part
so
of the Walmart
fucking
Plus program.
It's insane. Yeah, you have to sign up to use the self-check at Walmart, because Walmart's like, well, we're not actually going to have any more employees here to actually help our customers. We're just going to we're just going to leave that shit there, and if you want to use it, you need to pay us to be able to use this crap that we wasted all this money on, and now we're losing money. Yeah, it's a fucking disaster.
Actually, my local grocery chain is Wegmans. So they actually, I think in like 2018 or 2019, they debuted it's like a scan and go. So you go through as you're shopping, you scan, it gives you a running total. And then you can just check out on your phone instead of having to even go through a scan app, which sounds awesome. But apparently they ended up, I think they killed it maybe last year or the year before, because they were seeing like up to almost 20% loss because of theft.
Right. Yeah, because people just put shit in their cart and then they just leave. Yeah.
Yep.
And you're like,
yep. So I definitely think we have some things that need to happen technology-wise.
I do use that feature, actually, the scan and go. On the rare occasions that I actually go in the building at all, I tend to be more of an order online and show up and pick up
Yep.
That's much, much easier. It still employs a person to bring stuff out. Stuff doesn't get messed up as much usually. It's kind of a crapshoot if you're ordering things like vegetables or meat as to what quality you're going to get, kind of like when you just let Home Depot pick your lumber. But,
Right.
it's like, oh,
As
well,
long as it's in stock, it's going to get picked.
right. Well,
Type
it's
of deal.
more along the lines of I'm going to get every bruised apple in the box rather than, that kind of thing.
What's the
But-
question though? Is like, do you deserve the bruised apple?
I do not
Certainly a
deserve the bruised
possibility.
apples. Thank you very much.
I mean, we could go through the Chinese system now, where you earn reputation points or whatever, and then once you have a good reputation, then they'll stop putting the bruised apples in there.
Shitty stuff in there. That's right.
Right. Although I will
They're
say,
always late.
in the past, with the big produce companies that I would work with all the time, they would do this thing as they would have seconds. They're called seconds. Bruised apples, things that look weird.
Yeah.
Right.
They just chuck them all into boxes, and it's kind of rude to say chuck. I mean, I don't think they're like throwing them from across the warehouse, but they would just throw a bunch of produce in these boxes as they would go through, and then I would just buy those boxes from them for like $10, and it would be like a 40-pound case box, and who knows what they get.
Right. There's
a
a
whole business
secondary
model,
market called Misfit
Yep,
Market.
Misfit
There's a
Market
couple
was
of
maybe
others
what I was suggesting.
that do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, and I don't necessarily I'm not looking to display my fruit or anything, and I'm perfectly capable of cutting around it and have enough animals that stuff like that can. With meat though, it's a little less because you're paying such a high per pound percentage usually. That, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I used to just buy those seconds boxes like crazy of just all, because I'd get all sorts of stuff in there, and then I would just make crap out of them. Really, really not a problem.
Right.
Man, I would love a robot to harass customers who put stuff they don't want on random shelves. I'm fine with putting it back for them. Just don't hide it. Really pisses me off. Just leave it at the register. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get the frustration with like restocking and whatnot. But the bigger issue with that, I believe personally, is the dramatic change from restocking in the past used to happen when the store was not open. Whatever store it was, restocking, stocking the shelves, all that kind of crap used to happen at night. And like you mentioned, with like Home Depot, all of the restocking and inventory and all that shit used to happen on the graveyard shift. So when they closed at, whether it be 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or 11 or whatever, the night shift would come in. Lowe's used to do it the exact same way. The night shift would come in, restock all the shelves, put everything back, and that was the job that they were doing. Nowadays, corporations are like, hey, you're working today? Okay, cool. You got to handle the register. You got to do customer service in 3 departments. You also got to restock anything that you see. Otherwise, you're going to get a demerit, blah, blah, blah. And it's like all this crazy shit where it's like, hey, do 14 jobs, retail person, which is retarded because you can't do it. You just can't. And then people go to the store and you're like, I don't understand what's up with this guy. He doesn't even know what's going on. Of course he doesn't know what's going on. He's got 20 different things he's doing. Like, you have any expectation that they can bring anything to the table to help you as a customer, it's just not possible anymore. But that's the way it works. And for those people out there that go like, oh, it's because wages are so high, they raised the minimum wage, blah, blah, blah. I will tell you, I will cut you in on a little bit of a secret. They were automating this shit 20 years ago before minimum wage went up, and I don't even think minimum wage has gone up since then, especially on the federal level. It has in the state that I live in because we've done it as a state, started out as a city, and now the state's doing it. But the corporations, you make $1 an hour, a corporation's going to figure out like how to cut you out of making that dollar. It has nothing to do with minimum wage or any of that stuff. So, yeah.
Yep.
I hide things all over the store. It's a game. Yeah, well, that's a good point.
But
A lot of times I go into Walmart and just move things around. I don't even buy anything there. I don't. spend any money at Walmart. As
You're
like,
that guy.
it's a personal thing. I don't spend money at Walmart. I hate that corporation so much. I don't spend any money there, but I'll go in and just mess around with the store a little bit. Just keep them occupied. You know, it's a little ground level. You know, it's a little ground level fuckery that I like to do. You know, and it's more of a joke to myself than anybody else.
Shopping cart theory, but in the grocery store.
Inside the grocery store. Yeah, I actually what I do at Walmart is I go and I take the shopping carts, I put them back inside, so the shopping cart guy doesn't have to get them. But then I go inside to the manager's office and rearrange the whole thing, and then I leave.
Oh man.
Because fuck middle management at Walmart. You know,
It's good to see you're making excellent use of your time.
it's a wonderful use of my time, and it's real. This is what I really do with my time, for sure.
I'm totally right there with you.
If anybody thinks it's a real story, I don't know. Call your psychiatrist.
That's right.
FishFam Link says, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I would highly encourage you to not do either of those things. Don't do either of those things. Because FishFam Link's a bot.
I have to unclick it.
Yeah, we don't do what the bots say. We
Must
don't do
take bots away.
we don't do what the bots say. Even when it's a good thing. No, but thanks for hitting the like and subscribing and becoming a patron or a member. Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I really do. And the reason those of us who shop online freak out, it says there's one in stock. What do you mean there isn't one there? Well, I do know.
For Bentley and his hiding stuff in other aisles.
I do know from personal experience. A lot of times the inventory that's carried online is going to be different than the store because they're trying to they try to keep the store numbers different than the online numbers. Does it make sense? That like
It does.
they want to have
But when
like
you're
5 in
shopping
stock
for
at the
pickup-
store, but only say that there's 3 3 in stock online.
It's
And
the
the-
scarcity.
Well, it's not the scarcity thing. The reason for it is like the irate customers that order a thing and then it turns out it's out of stock. And they haven't had time to like walk around the store and know what the fuck's going on.
It's,
Yeah.
It's the pickup thing that's the issue.
Well, I love the I love the idea of the pickup thing.
Right.
What's his name? Tom Scott, the YouTube creator. He did a piece on a fully automated warehouse thing in the UK like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. And it's robots running it. And it's basically robots running a like an Amazon warehouse type situation. And I think it's pretty, you know, that kind of application of technology is great. The only downside is that like it's suffering placed upon the employee people, the workers, essentially, right? It's not like, oh wow, look at this massive benefit, and guess what we're gonna do? Lower our prices and this and that and the other thing. Of course not. They're gonna sell it at the same price or an elevated or a falsely inflated price because of algorithmic learning whether or not people are ordering a lot of something. They raise the price. So I think when it comes at the cost of the worker, I don't think it's really worthwhile. But you know, it's a cool idea. Oh, see, look, we were trashing FishFam Link, and the only time FishFam Link talks is when Witchy Cat donates money. So we know that robot is only motivated by money. So if you guys want to hear from FishFam Link, donate memberships just like Witchy Cat did, or super chat crazy amounts of money.
It doesn't have to be crazy amounts of money. It can be $2. I super chatted Graham in his sleep, and FishFam Link thanked me for that too.
Oh, it's true. That was actually that was the high comedy moment of the weekend for sure. If you guys aren't familiar with Graham from Aquarium Adventures, I've known him for a long time. He straight up was drinking lots of beers while live streaming, and wonderfully just fell asleep or passed out. Not really 100% sure how you qualify it, but
So funny.
he did fall asleep, and he was sawing logs and lumber. He was he was
Good long time.
he was digging for gold, you know. And I think most people wouldn't be digging for gold on their live stream if they weren't passed out. So I don't think it was like a clever game that he was playing, you know, because That would be like 6D chess. If he was playing 6D chess or something, he'd be like, I'm going to act like I'm going to pass out and I'm going to pick my nose. So that's how I was convinced he actually was asleep, because he was legit like, you know, like,
He was digging for.
yeah.
That's hilarious. And then he woke up. I was actually watching him. He wakes up. He kind of looks at the camera, gets up, wanders off. You hear the floor creaking as he's walking around upstairs, goes to bed. Kept streaming for another who knows how many hours. Before
Yeah,
he
I don't
came
know.
down the next morning and deleted it all.
I couldn't hang in there, but I did notice that the VOD was deleted once the next day, because I was like, maybe I should screen rip some of this, and then I was like, oh, he took it down. I mean, I guess I could have screen recorded it, but I don't have any reason to blackmail the guy, you know? I don't have any nefarious blackmail situation. I think he's a nice guy. I've recorded some little clips for him in the past when he asked for him, and he's just a good guy. Bentley Pasco says, I got to spend time with Joel this Saturday. It was great. That is true. It was great, but it was great for me to spend time with you, not you, me. It was me spending time with you that was the great part. 100%. Speaking of that, that's the title, Aquarium Group Auction, Worthwhile or Not. Went to the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, otherwise known as the GSAS. What is it? Biannual large auction situation. If you guys aren't familiar with the idea of an auction, people bring in a bunch of stuff, and then everybody has a number, and they hold up a number, and they argue about I'm gonna get it for this much. So you have unknown prices for things. You have unknown prices for things, and the weird thing is that you don't know what's going to be there. So Saturday morning, loaded myself, loaded Vicky, the daughter. We all went down, convened on Fremont, Washington. If you've ever been to Fremont, Washington, it's a lovely part of town, and I lived there for a long, long time until the bourgeoisie decided that Fremont was a hip area to live, and they just continued to raise our living expenses until I was forced to move. And I'm not fucking kidding about that. They were literally raising the prices, and I asked them about it, and they admitted to it, that they're like, yes, we want you to move out. So we are raising the prices the maximum amount legally, to the point where so at the time, the amount that they could raise the rent was 40% of the total rent if they gave 60 days notice. Every single 60 days, they raised it 40% until I moved.
Wow.
So anyhow, Fremont's a lovely part of town. I love it. I love it so much. I used to live there. There's a Seattle University is where that auction is held. It's a lovely campus. It's a lovely campus. It's really nice. Anyhow, so we go to the auction. There's a ton of stuff there. Turns out somebody was clearing out their fish room. I guess that's the nice way to put it. Somebody was clearing out their fish room. There was a ton of stuff, equipment, aquariums. There was a 90-gallon acrylic aquarium that was really nice that sold for $5. So there was a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff sold for incredibly cheap. People like Bentley were like, are you going to buy some of these acrylic aquariums? And I'm like, I would. I just have nowhere to put them, and I have a bunch of aquariums. There's literally a different aquarium now behind me again. So I didn't need it. And I was like, well, if I knew it was going to sell for $5, I might have just thrown $10 at it and brought it home. But I have lots of tanks already. So my assumption is that whoever's going to get that tank is going to put something in it, and it would be fantastic. But the nature of auctions themselves are that there is a lot of stuff that comes in, and that means when there's a lot of stuff, it's going to take a long time to sell it all. Now, with my 5-year-old daughter and with my spouse, I had to leave fairly early. There were a few things that came up for sale that I wanted to buy, but it was early in the auction, so they sold for a very high price, and I did not want to pay a very high price just to get it that minute, and especially the items that had sold. I could have just bought them at a later date for maybe even less money retail. So I was like, okay. But Bentley actually got the one thing that I really, really wanted, which was a Kessel 360X, the sun version, which is a freshwater LED light. That's a pretty amazing light. I think it retails for like $450 right now. He got a screaming deal on it for like $75, I think. And the damn thing looked like it had never been run before. It looked like somebody bought it, took it out of the box, looked at it, and then stuck it back in the box. I'm like, holy crap! Now, if it wasn't Bentley bidding on it, I would have continued the bid. I probably would have gone up to $120, I think, to buy it. But Bentley was the last one, and I wasn't about to bid up Bentley. What's the point in that? That doesn't make any sense. Bentley's my friend, and I'm not going to force him to pay more money. But I'm glad that he got it, and he's going to make great use out of the light. And I hope to see like a sort of comprehensive review video in like 6 months or so of like how well does this thing actually fucking work over at somebody's house that I actually believe. I'll put it that way. So that was cool. There were a few cool plants there that I wanted to get, but I did not have the. Well, my crew that was with me did not have the intestinal fortitude to continue the auction experience, as it were. They were quite bored, and so it was like, oh, it's time to go before we end up with a 5-year-old having a meltdown because she wants to do anything other than this. But it was great to see people. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see just how many plants and everything that everybody's growing. There was a couple of fish that I wanted to get, but they hadn't come up on the auction yet, and I didn't want to push them up to the front of the auction because I've noticed in the past when you push something up to the front of the auction, it piques everyone's interest, and then they all start bidding on it. Like, somebody else wants this. Well, I want it, you know. So I didn't want to go about doing any of that. Mike is asking, did I catch Dennis Wong's plant talk the other day? No, I didn't. I don't know. Did Dennis do another plant talk? On where? Let's see. Dennis Wong plant talk. Is this new? That's from 2019. I don't know. What channel was it on? I don't know. Dennis. I've met Dennis before. He's a really nice guy.
How and why did you decide to delve so deep into
Oh, stop playing. It was auto playing. That's from 5 months ago. I don't know. You'd have to. I don't even know where was he at. I don't know where he was at. I've seen some talks from him. I don't know. One somewhere overseas, somewhere. I don't know. I don't know where. But or maybe it was the AGA or something. I don't know. Some convention type thing. I've seen a talk from him, but realistically, most of the information that he has, I'm like, I just kind of nod my head at it, and then I go like, yeah, okay. He hasn't really dropped anything that was in my viewing experience was like, oh, that's incredibly groundbreaking that I didn't know about. So I appreciate his talent. I appreciate his knowledge, and yeah, it's great. But there's not so much to that content that I'm like, wait, I didn't know that. So I don't check in on that stuff very much. He was at Aqua Rocks, Colorado. Oh, that's right. He was at Aqua Rocks, Colorado. I wanted to go to that, but I didn't want to spend the money on the plane ticket because we're going to be going to the Findig instead. So I didn't want to spend money on extra airfare just to fly around just to go see a thing. So now, admittedly, if it was a sponsored thing and somebody sponsored me to go, I would go 100%. But I didn't have any sponsorship. I'm counting on YouTube people to sponsor this adventure that we're on right now. And I kind of crunched the numbers on how much money I spend versus how much money comes in. And it's probably not great having spent all this money on the studio, but realistically, I was going to do the studio whether I like it or not, or whether you guys like it or not. I don't know. So most of the Kali Tawa bags went for about $30-$35. That's what they cost per fish. Yeah, there were some good deals. I will say there were lots of good deals at the GSAS auction, but there just wasn't a ton of stuff that I'm like, I need that. There was a lot of stuff that's like needle leaf Java fern. Like if you needed needle leaf Java fern, there was tons of it. You could buy it. I don't need any needle leaf Java fern. So that's the hardship that I have, where it's like something that I really want, whether or not it's going to be there. And then oftentimes the thing that I really want, somebody only brought one of that thing, and then it gets bid way up, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm patient. I could just wait and buy it at a regular price as opposed to something being bid way up. Rainbow fish always sell for highway robbery levels of cheap in the GSAS. That's right, because a lot of people are breeding them, and they bring them in. And honestly, like, keeping a bunch of rainbow fish is like, that's kind of a commitment type fish, right? It's not really one that you just get. It's like if it's comparable to like discus, right? Like if you get discus, you're going to take care of them. You get rainbow fish, you're going to take care of them. If you're breeding them, you have a bunch of tanks and you have a bunch of project stuff, and they're not for me. I like rainbow fish. I like taking pictures of rainbow fish. I like watching beautiful planet tanks that have rainbow fish. They don't fit my personality as something that I like to keep in my tanks, right? Kelly Roach says, that's one thing I wouldn't have expected a good price on. I just really want some tawas. Maybe next time Peter at Eurofish gets a pair, I can trade him 5,000 guppies. It's possible. It's possible. If you have the 5,000 guppies, you might be able to pull it off. Missouri Fish Club channel. Oh, so Dennis was on the Missouri Fish Club channel? Let's see if they have a YouTube channel that I can find.
Bentley linked the.
What?
Bentley sent the direct link for YouTube a little further down.
Oh, whatever, dude. Direct links. Oh. Ah, crap. Stop. Okay. Autoplay is fucking killing me today. The Aqua Rocks Colorado channel has 262 subscribers. They probably need more than that, would be my guess. Let's fast forward a little bit. Yeah. I think I might have seen him do this same thing.
Right. So within the 12-hour window.
Oops. Oh, they didn't mic him up.
So all the more aggressive run will take it
That's
up,
annoying.
and then the more delicate.
Oh, crap. I would have mic'd him up. Lapel mic. Guys, next time, get a lapel mic. But yeah, I'll definitely check out that video for sure. But I think I've already seen that presentation before. The cool team's just hopping in at the vet ER for my youngest tortoise. I found her this morning with a prolapse. Fingers crossed. Oh, that sucks. I had a turtle that had a prolapse at one point. Turns out she still was making eggs that we didn't know about. It worked out, I guess, was the point that for bringing that up. It worked out. There's a really prolific breeder in the GSAS who has them. Ah, cool. Yeah, Kelly, if you want anything rainbow fish, hit up Bentley. He will know. He'll at least be able to get you. He'll be able to like push you in the right direction, or usher you in the right direction, or guide you in the right direction. Push sounds too much cliff oriented, right?
That's right. They'll knock you to the ground with this information.
He'll push you right off the cliff into rainbow fish.
It's informational. Fuck you. Oh, sorry.
Adam Foster says, I got my daughter an axolotl at our spring auction a few weeks ago for $59. That's not bad. There used to be
by
an
the way.
axolotl breeder here, who was sort of like, he was a pawn store guy. I don't remember. I don't know if he's still in business. Last time I was in Federal Way, the store wasn't there, so I don't know if he moved it again or whatever. But he used to have hundreds and hundreds of axolotls in his store, and you could just buy them for pretty cheap. But I don't know if he's still around. What's going on the mountain?
Oh, it's a day off from projects. So it's nice and quiet for once. There's not the sound of hammering or sawing or anything. But I'm down to 3 projects left for the summer. I'm so excited. I can't. It's all good.
What have you got done so far? The fence?
Fencing and gate finished. The catio is finished, so the cats can now go outside and knock fewer things over. The woodshed is in process, and that will leave me with a building and chicken coops. So I'm stoked as all get out. I have live chicks coming next week, so the woodshed will get finished this week, and the brooder will get set up in the greenhouse, and good times.
Oh, little chickens.
Little chickies. I'm both hatching and ordering day olds so that I can get all the variations of the 2 breeds that I want. So, yeah. It's sunny and gorgeous here. I'm excited.
Yeah, until Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too.
Yeah, until
Thursday.
Wednesday. Then the pain cometh.
Don't go harshing on my happy for the day.
It's the weather's coming whether you like it or not. Whether
I know, but
whether you're
I
appraised.
can ignore it for a couple of hours. Whether I'm a crazed monkey, what?
Oh,
Ugh.
my mom and her husband have completed the Camino, a different Camino.
As an L cam or something else?
No, the Caminos are a walk. They're like
Oh, okay.
traditional religious pilgrimages in Europe. There's a bunch of them. There's like one in Spain. There's one in Italy. There's one, I don't know. They're all around. It basically like people would go on those to like go see some holy site or whatever.
Right.
But they're still basically maintained by the standpoint of like tourism nowadays. So, I don't know. What did it say? 1,700. How many kilometers did they go? Well, crap. I got to look her back up. I got to look up Mom. Do I look up Mom? Mom, where are you? 170 kilometers in 7 days. This is the shortest one that they've done.
Okay.
How much?
thought
How
I
many
forgot to
kilometers?
do
How
it.
many miles is that?
Abroad.
How many kilometers is 170? What is it? 2.2 or something?
How many
170
imperial
km
troopers?
to miles. 105 miles in 7 days. Not bad. Santiago Compostela in Spain. They've already done that one. They did the Spain one. This one was in Italy,
Ah, yeah.
I think. Where did they finish? Matera? Where's Matera? I don't know where Matera is. Greece?
Isn't Greece an island?
No, Matera's in Italy.
That's a lot of swimming to get from Italy to Greece on a walk.
Well, they were in Greece a while ago.
Right. I remember you said that. Or posited that, because as I recall, you were not completely sure.
I don't know.
The
They were in
GPS on your parents was off.
I don't know. They were in Croatia before that, so I don't know. But apparently they finished their Camino in the town of Matera in Italy. That's in the boot. That's in the boot part. Down there at the bottom.
At the
Cool.
bottom in the heel. That is
Cool story, bro. They do those Caminos. There's a bunch of them. How many? All right, let's see. How many? How many are there? Oh, crap. 281.
Oh,
Although the
lot of
Camino begins at each pilgrim's own door, over the centuries, a number of main routes have been pinpointed. There are currently 281 Caminos listed, encompassing more than 51,500 miles of routes through 29 different countries. So let's see. This is the 7 main Camino de Santiago routes. There are 7. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. We're not going to put their advertising in there. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so here's ones that are the 7 ones that are in Spain. Camino Francis, Camino Portuguese, Camino del Norte, Camino Primitivo, Via de la Plata, Camino Ingles. I'll have to take that one because that one's in English.
Well, you
Yeah,
speak
some go
Spanish.
down here.
You get away with that.
Some go down here, some go over there. Yeah. So there's a bunch of them. It says there's a whole bunch. What's this? Yeah, see, they go all across. What the fuckation? What's happening? What is going on? What's happening with this website? Zoom out. Oh, I'm zooming. I'm scrolling down, and it's zooming all around. Oh God, how does somebody navigate this? Oh God, this website. It's crazy. Okay, let's go to a different one. How many are there? Here we go. Camino Primitivo is the oldest and most challenging Camino de Santiago, with a total length of 199 miles. The Camino Francis, the French way, is the most popular Camino route. As per its name, this route starts in Saint-Pied-de-Port and crosses the French-Spanish border in the Pyrenees. I think they did this one a few years back, 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago maybe. This one's nearly 500 miles. They did one that was super long like that. Maybe they did the Camino de Norte along the Spanish coast. This one's 500 miles also. I think maybe they did this one, Camino de Norte. I think they did this one. Sorry. I was thinking, wow, 500 miles. I remember they did 500 miles, and this one's 500 miles. But this one's also 500 miles, and this one goes along the northern Spanish coast. And I remember San Sebastian, Bilbao. Yes, this is the one they did, Camino de Norte. 500 miles on foot.
Okay.
There are all these weird walks. They're just long pilgrimages, and you just go around, and I don't know why you do it. Maybe you get close to Helios, you know? You get
In
close
those
to
countries, I
Helios.
bet you do.
You get close to Helios, and then you're like, look at me. I'm going to ascend to the heavens with Apollo and Helios and Pluto.
And a suntan.
I bet you $5 Pluto's there.
There you go. But Pluto's not a planet anymore. I'm still not sure what that did to the astrology world.
Is Pluto a planet yet?
No, they downgraded Pluto.
I know, but I think that they upgraded it back. It's a dwarf planet now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's good.
They're like,
Well-
it wasn't making any sense that they were like, yeah, we downgraded it from a planet, but you're like, yeah, but it's still fucking, look at it. So it's considered a dwarf planet, so that now everybody can be happy. Pluto can be happy with its diminished size. Although maybe at some point they'll call it a little people planet. I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know.
Change it for political correctness. Well, I remember when it first changed, it was like the astrologers are just going to have a nightmare. How do they, all those charts they're going to have to redo, and
Well, the
all the
bigger
rest of that
issue is
business.
that like it is part of our celestial body that we're here, right?
Right.
But as mentioned, declared the ninth planet in our solar system after its discovery in 1930. Fucking Pluto wasn't even discovered until 1930. Like that's how hard it was to detect. You know, like
Right.
the Greeks,
far out.
the Greeks didn't even know it was a planet, right? They didn't know. They couldn't see it.
Right.
No one could see it until 1930, and it was detected, and they went, bip, hey. You know, they were like, oh, this planet, she's the bee's knees, yakety yak yak yak. You know, like whatever the people in the 30s were doing, being super racist or whatever the hell they were doing. What's that?
Said we talked really funny in the 30s. Go on.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, see, Pluto's a planet, see, you know, and so anyhow, they mentioned that it was a planet. Then they went super racist, and then they started a world war, and things got confusing for a while, and then there was another war, and then there was the Korean War, and then there was another war, and you know, over that time, people weren't investing a lot of their energy in measuring the girth of Pluto, right? You know, over the last 30 years, we've seen a sort of a period of world peace that's sort of unprecedented, right? There hasn't been this much peace on the world stage. I would argue ever, right? Now, in this last 30 years, there's been a lot of dudes hanging out up on the top of volcanoes with their big looking glasses, being like,
Checking shit out.
I don't know. I'm thinking that Pluto's not girthy enough to be considered an actual planetoid, right? So they were like, look, we took some measurements. We don't think it meets the scale of it being a planet, you know, which makes sense because if you're in the business of measuring girth, and that's the measurements that you come up with, you want to apply said measurements and go like, look, me looking out this telescope for all of these years up here up on this mountain has not been a fruitless venture
That's right.
by stirring up a bunch of controversy about the girth of Pluto, right? And then people go like, my God, it is very worthwhile to keep paying that guy. And so they do.
Right.
And then people get, the controversy gets stirred up. People make a lot of money off making news broadcasts, selling Kellogg's Frosted Flakes at 7 p.m. or whenever your news is, the local news. What is it, 5 and 5 or whatever? I don't know. The local news broadcast, this and that and the other thing. They make a bunch of money. And then the argument continues on with all the super nerds arguing about Pluto's girth. And then eventually they all settle on dwarf planet, and we all continue to not actually care.
I was saying, Pluto just floats on through the universe, not giving a shit.
The planet just keeps floating around out there. Sorry, dwarf planet. Right. Sorry, I don't want to misgender or what is it? Not.
No mispronouncing the.
Yeah, I don't want to get the pronouns wrong for Pluto. The dwarf planet Pluto. Which is actually just a rock floating around.
The little dwarf planet that could.
Jerry Smith says Pluto is a planet. Who's Jerry Smith? I don't know who Jerry Smith is. Is Jerry Smith a guy? Somebody? I don't know.
I've never heard of Jerry Smith. But apparently they are enough of an expert that we should go by their word.
What's his name? Zentner? Nick Zentner. I've become obsessed with Nick Zentner. He is he's an American academic, apparently. This guy, he's a geologist. Nick Zentner. Geologist. Volcanologist. Oh. He teaches Geology 101 at Central Washington University. And he has a YouTube channel where he's been posting a lot of his lectures and everything, and it's great because I'm like, oh my god, I can just like take geology classes, and I was gonna say for free, but I got to pay for YouTube, so I don't have to watch. So I don't have to watch the cornflakes ads. You know what I mean? And be constantly reminded that cornflakes were introduced to stop people from masturbating. And if you think I'm lying about that, go look it up.
Boy,
What's that?
That is the raw bad end of the stick. Okay.
You didn't
Not a
know
great
that?
trade-off. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And that's just a bad trade-off.
Cornflakes were
Anyway.
introduced to slow your masturbatory instincts.
There are a shit ton of saltpeter in them or something. I don't understand.
No, they were just so bland. They were just so bland. People just
We're gonna bore
supposedly
you to
like
death.
they were so bland that people would just stop jerking off. I guess I don't know.
We're gonna suck out
Joel
our
G
whole
with a
world.
shout out to Pluto. What's up, buddy? Joel G all the way from New Z. Do they have astrology or astronomy? Do they have an astronomy center in New Zealand? I think they do. New Zealand. Astronomy? Let's see. Do they have a telescope? Stargazing in New Zealand, 100% pure New Zealand. Uncut. Pure, uncut. Pure, uncut, uncircumcised New Zealand. Dark clear skies. Celestial stargazing in New Zealand. Oh my God, I want to go. Look at that. Guided tours. There's a lot of guided tours. From starting at looks like 120 New Zealand Kiwis? Dollars? What are the Kiwi monies?
There's an observatory at the University of Canterbury, Mount John.
Oh, you guys just call them a New Zealand dollar. That's boring. You guys should call them. Do you guys have like a cool slang for New Zealand dollars? Slang. Let's see. The colloquial name for the New Zealand dollar, coined after the flightless kiwi bird, is featured on the island nation's $1 coin. It's often referred to as the kiwi. Is that it? You just call them kiwis? Give me 10 kiwi.
Wow, they've got a ton of observatories.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of pollution out there because they're taking care of their corner of the planet.
That's cool.
Huh. I don't know. I need to go move to New Zealand for a couple years, guys. Sorry. Look at the stars, man. Starry, starry night out there. Anyhow, I've been obsessed with Nick Zentner now for the better part of the last year, learning geology as much as I can, because Washington State is full of geology to the nth degree. We have a lot of it. We have all the geological craziness.
Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out where this columnar basalt is. Look at this. That's the top of the rocks. Look at that. It's amazing. It'll rock your feet off.
Cool.
There's the Echo Basin, French Coulee. We've got all that stuff here. We've got all that stuff. We got volcanoes. We got all the stuff.
Yeah.
But the astronomy is just not that exciting to me, realistically. But neither is astrology.
No, I can see why astrology wouldn't be, but astronomy's pretty cool. It's
New Zealand
pretty
hardly got
rad.
any neighbors. I got to go there. Mickham. I think Mickham would have fun in New Zealand. I think. Well, I think we've like irritated just enough people today. Have we irritated enough people? We didn't get a lot of likes.
No, only 17. But yeah, it was. Saw lots of faces that we haven't, well, that have been quiet normally. Hadn't seen Kelly in a while. That was nice.
Yeah, I guess they were at their sister's wedding or something last week, is what they said earlier in the chat.
Yes. And there was Linda.
There used to be a telescope in Invercargill. I went as a child, but not sure if it's still there. Yeah, it seems like there's a fair bit of stargazing going on.
There was a planetarium attached to my high school,
Mm-hmm.
which was awesome. We used to go and hang out there and watch that.
The planetarium.
Oh, the picture you were showing off finally showed up. That is really cool.
Oh yeah, you're not live.
No. Well, I'm not live picture-wise. I'm only live audio-wise. Yeah.
It's true.
So true. Anything exciting scheduled for your week this week?
Oh yeah, there's always shit going on, constant. It's never ending.
Okay.
There's always stuff. There's always things. Stuff and things. I had a virtually useless Sunday yesterday, other than building, building continued relationship with my daughter, because Vicky had to go do something with her girlfriend all day. So Livy and I just partied it up all day. We had a good time.
Nice.
We did a bunch of daddy-daughter stuff. And we went and ate ice cream without Mom because somebody was too busy to answer the phone. We couldn't find out if Mom wanted to come. So we said, nuts to waiting on Mom calling us back. We're just going to go get ice cream. So we even got ice cream. We went to the park. We ran around. We didn't play soccer because she didn't want to play soccer yesterday. I don't know why. She said, I only want to play soccer at soccer practice. So I was like, but you got to practice more than the hour a week if you want to get any good at anything. And she was like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight you. I'm correct, but I'm not going to fight you over it.
Right.
Because you're 5.
Yeah. Pick your battles. And that sounds like the good call there.
It's not really
ice cream, so that was nice.
It's not really you can't really pick battles with 5-year-olds. You can like force them to behave, and then the rest of the time you just got to try to be as cool as possible, I think.
Okay.
Like you can't allow them to do like disrespectful, like misbehaving. Like you can't allow them to do that, and then the rest of the time you just got to be pretty cool. That's pretty much it.
It's just a matter of trying to keep them from harming themselves.
Need to reach those 10,000 hours. Oh yeah, Mickham's talking about the idea of the 10,000 hours, which I do agree. I don't disagree with the 10,000 hours rule, but I think where I think people are kind of confused is that the sort of summary of that book is that it's under the assumption that like if you were to do something for 10,000 hours, it would essentially make you an expert in that thing, which I think is sort of twisted by some of the right-wing weirdos here in the United States, like on YouTube and whatnot, like Joe Rogan, for instance, that if you frantically work at something for 10,000 hours, that's how you become an expert, right? Which the idea of that book is that like if you worked on something for 10,000 hours, you would invariably be considered an expert. It doesn't necessarily mean that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything. a good example of that would be like if, for instance, you were going to learn, we mentioned Spanish earlier, right? If you were going to learn Spanish and you spent 8 hours a day, 5 days a week working on learning Spanish as an adult, it certainly would not take you 5 years of working every single week in order to learn Spanish, right? Now, would you be considered an expert in having learned Spanish? No, but I bet you would be fluent after a year, I think. I mean, if you're working that much at it, you will eventually like immerse yourself in that language, probably would know how to read it, probably would know how to write it, and would have a pretty big vocabulary if you were honestly working 40 hours a week, which is only 2,000 hours over a year. So I don't think you necessarily need 40 hours a week every week for 5 years in order to become an expert at a bunch of things. But yeah. Going to the good football schools is the thing these days. Many players over here are great, no matter what country you're from. Learning the game/situations is the key. Yeah, I mean, being a footballer is like 90%, and I say footballer, like European football, soccer. In order to be a good footballer, like 90% of it is conditioning. Like if you are in fantastic condition, there is likely to be a spot for you on the team. The 10% is learning situation and skills, right? The other 90% is conditioning. Like you just got to be able to be in shape so that you can play at an advanced physical level, 90-minute matches, 3 to 6 times a week, right? And the rest of the stuff is just learning, like you said, situation, learning to pass. Learning to pass isn't difficult. Learning touch isn't all that difficult. It's mostly conditioning. Yeah. I agree with the be cool philosophy. I just don't let them do anything super stupid. Like if you're going to put your hand in the ceiling fan, at least use your non-dominant hand. Come on. Yeah, that's the thing is that like you just don't let your kids like purposefully throw paint on your carpet, right? It's like, oh, well, no. Like most of their time on this earth, they're just experimenting with what they can and can't do. There are certain interventions that you have to do with a 5-year-old just to stop them from doing something that is just super disrespectful. The rest of the time is pretty much just being cool. That's how I feel like is the honest appraisal of like being a parent. There's a bunch of other stuff that goes into being a parent, like following a schedule. Following a schedule is extraordinarily helpful for little kids. It's probably helpful for adults, but adults can think actively with the forefront of their mind that like this is a thing I need to do right now, so I can suck it up and go do it. Whether I got 8 hours of sleep last night or 5 hours of sleep last night, you can consciously make your body go do the thing that you need to go do. 5-year-olds, 3-year-olds, not so much. Like their brains don't work the way that adult brains work. And that's something that a schedule will really help keep them a lot more even-tempered throughout the day, a lot better behaved, a lot easier to deal with, which is one of those things that like I never really thought about like actively until I became a parent. It was something that was brought up to us, and I was like, yeah, of course, yeah. But there were certain times when scheduling hasn't worked out and you're like, why is this kid going so crazy today? And it's like, we didn't get to bed on time, we didn't do bath time, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. Like we deviated from the schedule, and it will just send them into a weird
tailspin.
Yeah, that is just it's seemingly out of the blue, but when you think back of like, there's a bunch of things that we changed from their schedule. Of course, they're reacting this way. They are in a state of like not knowing what to expect.
Yep, they still need those touch points.
Yeah, And so yeah, I mean, 9 times out of 10, when your kids are misbehaving, it has a lot more to do with the parents than I think it does with them as kids. Realistically, I'm no expert, but that's just some stuff that I've picked up on. Is this the Allen wrench I'm looking for? I don't think so. This is too big.
Not the Allen wrench you're looking for, or the droid.
This one's too big.
Damn it.
That's what she said.
When you find it, you're going to need to like put a little magnet on it and stick it to the.
Nope, I'm
arm
going to put
there
it back
so
in wherever it's lost. I'm going to just put it back in its lost place.
Perfect. Well planned.
Into the sky with you.
That's right.
I'll set it free. Like a dove at a wedding.
At Kelly's wedding, you can add, instead of birds at Kelly's wedding, we can throw Allen wrenches.
I don't know if Kelly got married. I think it was their sister.
No, they're planning. That's what she said. Now going on to plan their own wedding.
Oh,
Sorry.
planning weddings is so hot right now. I mean, it really is. Planning a wedding, it's so hot right now. It's a big deal.
It's such a thing. No.
Oh man, I was looking at wood. I was looking at buying some wood. I heard you were looking at buying some wood, and you were infuriated.
I am really annoyed at the cost of lumber, but really more at my own budget than the cost of lumber. If I had a bigger budget, I would not care. Let's put it that way. Yes.
Oh yeah, when people have like an endless sea of cash, they don't really care how much
Right.
things cost. That's factually true. I've heard about that.
I don't know who those people are, but I'd really like to test the theory that money does not buy you happiness. I think that's
Bezos.
something that I need to experience myself.
Bezos is that guy.
Well, and yet he keeps trying to escape the planet, so who knows?
He's not trying to
Think
escape the
that-
planet.
No.
He's
Doesn't
trying
he
to
build
convince
rockets?
people. Him and Elon Musk are trying to convince people
That they should escape.
that they should sell off all of their worldly possessions so that they can afford to leave the planet, to only become an indentured servant, which we could not really verify whether they were alive or not as a population. And even Elon Musk was on stage and was talking about, yeah, you could sell off your house, you could sell off all of your stuff, and it would be enough to be able to sponsor yourself to like go to Mars. When like Mars could only be realistically described as a work camp where if you go outside, you die.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be for ever. In our
Yeah, forever.
ability to think.
Yeah, forever.
Forever.
Of which, like, of course, the thing is that people will go like, well, we're going to terraform Mars. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, like, explained that in such a great way that he was like, we're going to spend all of that energy and all of that to terraform another planet that we don't live on, and why wouldn't we just spend all of that energy and time, money, energy to just fix the planet that we're already on?
Right.
Like, we're
And if
already
we're
here.
gonna do-
We could
if
do
we're
that
gonna
here.
Do a body,
What's that?
why not go and do that to them? If we're going to do another planetary body, why go so far away as Mars? The moon's right there. Let's have that. You know,
The
I mean,
moon's
if
not
it's-
the moon's not a planet.
Well, I back to our. It's not even a dwarf planet. You know what I mean? Satellite. But
Yeah, it's a moon. It won't.
The
It's not a
moon.
planet. It doesn't have enough gravity to. Well, that's why, because it's a moon. That's why not. But what Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying, if we're gonna go do
Yeah,
all
I
of
know.
that on
It's here
Mars,
first.
well, he's like, well, if we're gonna go do all that on Mars, why don't we just do that here? We don't have to go anywhere. We're already here. Why wouldn't we
But
just
then
do
we'll
that
just
on the planet that we live on?
overpopulate it like rats in a cage, but yeah.
What's that?
So, but then we would just overpopulate like rats in a cage. That's my worry. Is that that's the dystopian future I foresee forever down the road. We've not figured out how to control the population, and we've stacked everything so high that you're literally living in space because your building's that tall.
I don't know why that. Okay. Well, why don't we discuss that for a minute? Because like, well, no, because yeah, I mean, like, so for a long time there have been that has been the concern proposed for a very long time, that we are going to overpopulate. And one of the things that has been noticed over the last 70 years is that, strangely enough, when cultures industrialize, aka they move into the first world, you'll notice that the amount of kids that those people have dramatically goes down. And for a long time, a lot of people thought it was because of an economic reason, when the reality is people used to have lots of kids to overpopulate because those kids died at like an insane rate. Even 100 years ago, I think your life expectancy for your child was like 60%. So like almost 1 out of 2. Let's see. How long do we over the decades? We want that chart. Let me find this chart. Here we go. Da-da-da. So your life expectancy was like up to the age 5 was essentially how they were doing it. Where is this? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to find this. 1900, the world average was 31 to 32. 19th century, the world average was 28.5 to 32. But this number is so skewed because so many kids died. Life expectancy 100 years ago. No, so we want life expectancy for newborns, I think, right? Newborns.
Survival rate, maybe, is what we're looking for. The phrasing, I think.
So life expectancy from birth in the United States from 1860 to 2020. In 1860, it was 39 years. 1865, when all the people died in the Civil War so that we could try to get rid of slavery, because the South decided that they wanted to continue being a country that had slavery, went down to 35.1. Your life expectancy in 1865 was 35 years. It went to 39 for a while. Then it slowly climbed all the way up to 78.81. So your life expectancy right now, if you live in the U.S., is 78 years, essentially. Maybe 79 in a year or two. Who knows? But the life expectancy chart, the reason that it's gone so dramatically like that is because so many children died. If you think of it this way, one person lives to be 100 years old. A baby is born and dies. The mean average between the two of those is 50 years life expectancy, right? Now, one person did live to be 100, but the other one lived to be 0.
Right.
Average that out. It brings the average way down because a lot of kids just died, and young people dying. So when they went to war, which is why you see, oh, I'm not even showing you guys what I'm looking at. Yikes. So when you look here on the chart, you see these big dips. Here's the Civil War right here, 1865. Here's World War World War Uno. It went from 54 down to 53. We didn't see a big dramatic drop during World War II, even though lots of people died. That's because these people were all just straight up smashing guts. These guys were all just hard boning each other like crazy, making kids. You see a bit of a weirdness right here. This is, guess what? The Vietnam War. A bunch of 18-year-olds went and got murdered over in Vietnam. There doesn't seem to be anything for the Korean War. I don't know why, but yeah, I don't know. Some historian will tell me. But the kids died, right?
Right.
Oh, I have to buy an account to get more information out of here. It costs $200. So if anybody wants to
get
super
right on
chat
it.
me, does anybody want to super chat me $200? I'll be able to make a starter account here. So we can get more information. But that's the information that we have right now from Statista, I guess. We'll remove that for now so that I can go back to where the big search was, because we want to see newborns, life expectancy for newborns over the decades, and I'm not exactly seeing that. But infant mortality, that's what we want. We want infant mortality.
Yeah, infant mortality. Yes.
Over time. We want to see a freaking chart or something. I guess we're going to Wikipedia. That seems to be the most comprehensive one. So the global under 5 mortality rate in 1950 was 22.5. So a quarter of kids were dying in 1950. 1 out of 4, essentially, which dropped to 4.5% in 2015. Over the same period, the infant mortality rate declined from 65 deaths per 1,000 live births to 29 deaths per 1,000. Yeah, so it's been dropping. How much was it 100 years ago? We don't have that. Wikipedia is not helping us with a further to go back farther. We want to go back further. Scrolling for the chart. There's a measurement. It looks like Wikipedia is only going back to 1950. Probably because they have strong.
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was saying that I bet probably it's going from 1950 because that's when we have really sort of documented numbers, right? Because
Right.
if somebody had a baby
country.
and it just died,
Right.
Then there's no one around to record it, right?
Right. Right. True. Yeah, it looks like WHO only goes back to 1990 or so. Well, it depends on the country. And of course, they list
the
all
long run
countries.
history for child mortality. Shown is the share of children who died before reaching the end of puberty. The exact age cutoff differs slightly between studies, but it is around the age of 15. Here we go. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. Okay. So here's the chart I was looking at. So this goes back to the 300 BCE, which seems a little bit wild. But global mortality rate in 1950 is right here. So I think that's when they started really recording. 1950 is when they really started recording it. Because right here it's at 27% global mortality rate. Before that, it seems like most of the stuff's around 40%, 50%. It seems like a pretty normal estimation is 48% over time. So my reason... Oh, I don't want to rename that. I want to remove that. Let's get that chart out of here. Remove. Okay. So my reason for bringing that up is that one of the big factors in why people were having so many kids is because a lot of them died. On top of it, there wasn't any reproductive, there wasn't any contraceptives. There wasn't family planning. None of that stuff really existed. Women didn't have rights. So if you were just, I guess I'm not supposed to say the R word on YouTube anymore, but if you were penetrated by a man and became pregnant from it, whether you wanted to or not, there really wasn't anything that women could do about it. Now, as far back as the Bible even has verses about how to give yourself an abortion or get an abortion from other people. So that has been going on for a long time, but it was outlawed, illegal in so many areas. So there really wasn't any women's autonomy didn't really exist, as highlighted by
Everything.
Trump being a total buffoon while he was president. That the 100-year anniversary of women's women's right to vote happened while he was in office, and he was like, "Huh?" He was surprised by it.
Right.
Women have only been able to have the right to vote for what 106 years, and
Or have their own credit card for not
you,
even
the credit card is the early 80s. It's only been like 40 years.
75. Yeah, 75. Yep.
Well, most of them didn't actually implement that until the early 80s.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one of the big reasons why there were so many kids being born, is that also on top of it. But one of the big things that they've noticed, and India itself is sort of is strangely enough, a sort of test area for this theory. Not on purpose. It's just they're observing things that are happening with how many kids Indians are having. And surprisingly enough, the number has gone way down, how many kids they're having per capita. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that women's rights are on the rise in India, so that they're not forced into having 6, 7, or 8 kids. And the children mortality rate is on the severe decline in India as medicines have come out. The ability to feed kids is much easier and all that stuff. So the propensity of people to have 8, 9, 10 kids just disappears with the industrialization of populations. So, and we can definitely see that in, for instance, areas like Japan. They have wonderful systems there for having kids. They have wonderful transportation. The economy has been quite good. All that stuff. Guess what? How many children people are having has gone through the floor. They're not even having enough kids to maintain their population. So,
Right.
If somebody goes like, well, Japan's like different. It's like 100 million people that live in Japan. That is a big enough cross section to at least go, something's happening here. Let's take a look. So that's kind of my point, is that like overpopulation basically only exists in a void where everybody just continues to live in constructed mud huts, and people are producing the way that animals do, in the fact that they're just having a bunch of kids to hopefully have success, right? But the industrialization has shown us, especially in the United States, a lot of what's going on in the United States is white Klan hood wearing right-wing weirdos claim that there's a great replacement theory. There's a great replacement going on, that people are being replaced by brown people. Whereas the people on the left are like, oh yeah, immigrants are coming here, right? We've been able to replace our population with the fact that we are having 1.5 kids or 1.6 kids or 1.4 kids, something like that, per couple in the United States. But we have a lot of immigration, so we're bringing in a lot of people that are going that are adding to our population because immigrants are coming here. So we're able to bring in young people that are probably going to have 1.5 kids themselves. And that's why we've been able to maintain our demographics in the United States. The demographics in the United States, us maintaining a young enough population coupled with our older population, is important for the continuation of the United States. And any idiot out there that is wanting to build a wall, wanting to do all this shit, is complete and utter horseshit. There's no reason for you to be proposing any of that nonsense, especially from an economic standpoint, because our economy is 100% reliant on the fact that there are young consumers living in the United States. And if we don't have those people, that's when the Great Depression will happen again. What's that?
Literally made to have those people in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's our
Created
economy
specifically
is built that way. We have a consumption-based economy. My my standpoint would be, yes, we do need to industrialize and produce more here as compared to what we have in the past. I was never in favor for offshoring all of our basically manufacturing. I was never in favor of that. I was too young to be able to voice very much of an opinion at the time. I'm likely not a big enough creator to voice very much of an opinion right now, but I am at least in favor of reindustrializing in the States, because we can produce a lot of the stuff that we need here as opposed to shipping it around the planet like crazy. Oh my God, who's here?
Adam.
Somebody's here. Is that Adam?
It's Adam.
I can't read anybody's name on here.
It's Adam.
Adam and Plan, judging by the sounds.
Oh yeah, we're watching Daddy's Dollhouse.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. Daddy has a
Watching cartoons getting big. But also, looking at the American demographics, looking at our economy, looking at what's going on, we are actually poised in a very good position to continue doing what we're doing for the next big-time long haul. What I think is going to be really interesting is what is it going to look like in 20 years with the coupling of Canada, Mexico, and the United States? Because I really wonder, I really wonder where that's going to head to, because the United States is essentially going to be super reliant on the workforce of Mexico, especially southern Mexico and other countries connected. I can't remember exactly who's Guatemala, Panama. We need a map. Over the long haul, over the next 20 years, because a lot of the industrialization, a lot of the workforce is going to be absorbed by Mexico. And I think that is probably something like, if I was a Mexican living in Mexico, I would be looking forward to the future there, because the United States is going to become much more active in essentially protecting our industrial interests down there, as opposed to protecting the industrial interests of the global economy. We're going to definitely stop doing as much as we do now. And a lot of people have completely just sort of like forgotten the fact that like the United States signed up to protect the global markets. People wonder why the United States has such a big, gigantic, insane army and navy and all this, is because after World War II, we signed up to protect all of the fucking boats. We signed up to protect all of that. And so we've been doing that for a long time. And strangely enough, like, our politicians, as dumb as they are, they never bring this up, right? Which treaty was that? It was the one in 1947. I forget which one it is, but we signed that treaty to essentially like, yes, we will sign up, we will volunteer our war machine that we had at the time. It's one of the reasons why Eisenhower was talking about the warning of the military industrial complex, is because the military industrial complex he knew was going to grow because we had signed up to protect the global market, right? A lot of that is going to change, and I think personally, over the next 20 years, this southern border between the United States and Mexico may just dissolve essentially. Right now, it's this big sticking point that like people are coming in, but the United States is investing heavily in industrializing Mexico, because Mexico has the workforce to be able to do all of the production that we want to do. And eventually enough of those companies are going to force our politicians to go, oh, we have to get rid of these cartels. We just have to eradicate them altogether and bring some level of semblance of order to an area that I have personally been extraordinarily frustrated that we have not been helping Mexico to clean up all of this cartel bullshit that's been going on for so long. I'm always I was gobsmacked for 20 years why we were attempting to rebuild Afghanistan by shooting holes in the desert when we had all this crazy shit going on in a country right next to us. I was always like, what the fuck? Why aren't we helping Mexico?
Well, and it makes no sense to, or it makes sense to rather to keep that neighborhood close to us because of shipping costs as the Panama and the Suez canals break down and become more and more, you know, outdated and a problem and just not able to handle the traffic they need to. Having it right there, literally at your back door, seems to be the logical step.
Well, yeah, and
Especially,
I think the weirder thing about it is that, like, China ostensibly said, we have the workforce. In the past, they said, we have the workforce, we will make it cheaper than Mexico, is essentially what they have always done.
right.
Unfortunately, truth be told, I don't think that they have the workforce anymore. They really don't seem to.
They're eating themselves.
They publicly announced that they had overcounted their population by 100 million.
Wow.
Which means it's way worse than that, because if that's what they're publicly announcing, there's no way they're giving the real number out, right?
Right. Right.
But they're like, they overcounted their population by 100 million people. 100 million people that didn't exist, they thought existed. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
that fundamentally is just like so fucking crazy. Yeah, China does not have the workforce. Their demographics are cratering. That's right. They have an old population that is moving out of the workforce, because whether people like it or not, there is a point in time where a person can no longer do manufacturing. Like, they're just too old. They can't do it anymore. And that is what's happening in China. And they've been over counting their population for close to 50 years. So that's the wild thing, is that people that they thought were born 50 years ago don't actually exist.
Right.
And so the 50-year-olds don't exist. The 40-year-olds don't exist. The 20-year-olds don't exist. That's the wild thing. And by the way, those are all the people that have kids. So if you're hoping that they're going to have a bunch of kids, they don't have them. So it's just wild what's going on. And the unfortunate thing is, Janet Yellen was just in China for a week because the American government knows that their demographics are fucked, and it's one of the reasons why people in the political bodies in the United States have always been trying to, like, try to temper people from going that, like, oh, China is the big villain. They've always been trying to, like, hey, calm down. China's not as big a villain as you think. The reason for that is that they know that it was just a waiting game. Eventually, like, their economy is going to completely collapse because they don't have the demographics to maintain a consumer-based economy, which they have mirrored the United States economy with a bunch of other programs on top of it. And it's really not going to work because they don't have the demographics to maintain it. And it's another reason why the Republicans want to persist with this border problem, right?
Border problem.
You know, they got a bill this year with everything they could possibly ask for to fix the border problems. The Democrats had included all of the things that we wanted, like 1,000 more judges, all this crazy stuff, to get immigration to make sense and to get it to work. But Republicans want to blockade that because it's the boogeyman that they can continue to point to, that, like, the immigrants are coming and they're bringing rapists and murderers or whatever, right? But it's a boogeyman simply from the standpoint that it's not real. We need the immigration to work properly and to get it to work and function properly. And the fucked up thing is that Ronald Reagan was running on that 40 years ago. Now, did he do anything about it? No, but that was something that he was, that's something that he ran on in 1980 or 79, whatever year. Was it 1980? Yeah, because he was 80 and then he came in 81, right? Yeah. In 1980, he ran on it. I've watched a bunch of his pulpit speeches where he was talking about people getting green cards rapidly, people getting work permits rapidly, getting all that stuff figured out so that we could just freely move across the border, get the work done that we need to get done, and don't worry about it. But did he actually implement any of that shit? No, he didn't do it. But that was something that he was even talking about 44 years ago, right? The unfortunate thing is that what's that?
I said, and then we tried to play with NAFTA for a while, and that was
No,
the right idea,
we've had
bad
NAFTA,
implementation.
we've had NAFTA,
Yeah.
and we have the new version of NAFTA, which I forget, which by the way was brought to you by Trump. I forget what it's called. The North American. There's a name for it. North American something. Free trade agreement is the old one. What's the new one? What's the what's the new NAFTA? Where is it? New version. Which one of the funniest things? The USMCA. That's right.
USMCA.
The USMCA. Yeah. Which one of the funniest things that Trump like negotiated for in there was that like, and this is the hilarious part, is that he had negotiated that if a company wants to employ Mexican workers, they have to pay the Mexican workers the same rate that they're going to pay American workers, because he thought that everyone was as racist as him, and that
Right.
these
And-
companies would go, oh, well, if I'm going to pay a Mexican $28 an hour, I'll just move the whole warehouse manufacturing facility back to Ohio, right? It turns out they just went, oh, okay, I guess we have to give all the Mexicans raises, and so they did. Like thousands of Mexican manufacturing workers got this gigantic raise. They went from like $7 an hour to an average of $25 an hour, and they were like, "Oh, Trump's the best." And then Trump's like, that's not what I meant." Like, yeah, because you're a fucking idiot, you know? Like, God, that's so fucking
But
stupid.
thanks.
But hey, I'm glad those guys got raises. That's dope to me. I'm like, 2 thumbs up for those guys getting a raise.
Right.
Vietnam and Mexico are both poised to take a lot of the manufacturing from China. Yes, Vietnam is actually poised to take a ton of the high-end manufacturing from China. A lot of the more complicated manufacturing and stuff is going to be in Vietnam probably in the next 10 years. But Mexico is going to be, realistically, I think Mexico is going to be like the Midwest was in the 50s. I think realistically, it's going to be like on the crazy rise for a while, until the Midwest actually becomes affordable enough to do manufacturing in the Midwest again. And then I think the Steel Belt region that's sort of was decimated by the steel manufacturing going out, I think you'll see a lot more manufacturing in that area because the land is so cheap and everything that companies will invest to build whatever widget that they want to build there eventually. But Mexico is still cheaper than the Midwest is currently.
The Witchy Cat was complaining about the lumber prices earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The Witch Cat. I've now become a title. Awesome. Go on,
The-
Adam. Sorry.
You know, it's you know, that's that USMCA. I mean, all the lumber in America comes from just north of you guys, just about.
Yep,
And
Canada.
some right next to you.
A bunch of it comes from Canada, and this was happening during the pandemic. Was if you go back and look at the USMCA, Trump put a poison pill into a bunch of companies that he didn't like, the Canadian ones. So some of the Canadian companies are paying like a 10% import tax at the border, and then there's also tariffs on top of them. Which, by the way, the tariffs are paid by U.S. companies. I think people are always confused by that. But one of the things that was happening was that a shipment of plywood or chipboard or whatever was coming from Canada. It would hit the border. It would get upcharged because of that import fees at the border. And then the tariff would hit once it got off of the train. Then it would go to the retailer, and then here's the weird thing: the Canadian manufacturers have access to the internet because this isn't the fucking Stone Age. So then they would look at the retail price. The retail price in the stores would go up, right? Then the retail companies would put into the wholesalers that we need more wood because people are buying all of the wood at this new inflated price. Then the wholesaler would go to the Canadian company and say, hey, we need another load of wood. Those guys would go, oh, it's this much now because we've decided to raise the price because we can view the market in the United States and how much people are buying it for. The wholesaler would go, okay, and they buy a whole train load at an elevated price. Then it would hit the border. Then it would hit that import
all
tax. Then it would hit a tariff. Then it would go to the wholesaler. Then the wholesaler would sell it to the retail store. Then the retail store would jack the price up on the next load. The next load. Then it just kept going like that. Which is how we got to the point where like OSB
I could
was
frame my house.
$65 a sheet. What's that?
I said I could frame my house in local walnut
Right.
cheaper than I could for pine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's buck wild. Like I'm doing a big renovation right now, and I was pricing lumber for all these cabinets that I'm building. And here's the fucking crazy thing is like in the past I would typically do like clear pine or oak if I could find oak at a good price. You know what's the cheapest right now? Maple.
Ooh.
So I'm making a bunch of cabinets out of fucking maple right now because like maple's cheaper than oak and pine. I'm like,
It's
okay.
versatile.
Like awesome.
I mean, I could buy super
Right.
cheap. I could buy super cheap pine that's not good, but the clear pine, like clear crosscut pine, that's really nice and kind of solid. It's like super expensive right now. I don't know why, but it's more expensive than maple. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just make it out of maple. I actually have a hardwood to build out of.
Nice.
Prettier
guess
grain and whatnot too.
What's that?
Fun added benefit.
Oh, much better grain and much prettier. And by the way, I can just clear coat it. I don't even need to paint it.
Mm-hmm.
Bush, HW, or H, not W, tried to reform, but the GOP turned on him. His reforms would not have been terrible. Yeah, H.W. Bush was pretty reasonable about a lot of stuff. I would say he's hardly even a moderate, or he was hardly even a Republican, realistically. I think if you put him into today's terms, he would be a real moderate, middle-of-the-road guy, but also previously head of the CIA. So can you really trust him? Can you really trust the guy? Not exactly somebody that I would want.
Not the best of trade-offs there.
Yeah, you know. And strangely enough, his kid was elected, and his other kid was the governor, and all that stuff, which is all very weird and very emblematic of like the system that America has put into place, where we supposedly were opposed to the monarchy, right? And yet we've just appointed all these fucking families that have decided to be the heads of state forever, and even to the point where like now we have to deal with another Kennedy, right? Like we have to deal with another Kennedy who's like anti-vax crusades, and then he just claims.
Yeah, that's
Did you actually
That
hear the
guy's
interview with
weird.
him where he was like, I didn't tell him not to take vaccines. And it's like, you strangely enough ran this big campaign in Guam to get people to stop taking their fucking vaccines. They stopped taking their vaccines. Measles outbreak, 1,000 people die from fucking measles. And then when you're asked about it, you go, well, I didn't tell them not to take their vaccines, like a fucking baby child. Not presidential material, based on just that alone, right? Like, just that alone is a disqualifier for you to be a fucking presidential candidate.
and yet I hear people say about him the same thing that they said about Trump before
Right.
his thing, which was, but he's going to be new. He's going to be a different voice and shake things up.
He's a
And how
Kennedy.
well has that been working out for you?
He's a Kennedy who works out a
Right.
bunch. He's married to Cheryl Hines. Like, he's from Hollywood. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is, yeah. I mean, he's literally, I forget, is he the grandson? Who is he? Or
Nephew, I think.
he's the nephew of Kennedy. He's the son of RFK, right?
Yeah. I believe that is the correct progression.
He's the son of the original RFK, right? He's RFK
Right.
Jr., right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, it just complete absurdity. Like, just complete absurdity that, like, oh, well, I didn't tell them not to take their vaccines. It's like you literally were campaigning, spreading all this misinformation about vaccines in Guam, and then that happened. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? At least take fucking responsibility for your shit, but I don't know.
Right,
I guess
right.
I guess that
You
means he's
realize
qualified
that-
to be president now. I don't know. It's just nuts.
You realize that there are things that televise and record all this stuff, right?
He works out like Joe Rogan. He must be he's going to be president. Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Who's this Joe?
All right, well, it's 4:00. Adam, you came on. What did you want to talk about?
I just want to see happy belated birthday.
Oh,
Aw.
well, thank you.
But yeah, check it out.
I appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
I'm getting older.
Me too.
That's better than the alternative, as they say.
That's what I tell my 4-year-old boy. You can't get younger.
That's right.
So.
And if you
embrace what
miss a
got.
birthday, it's not good.
Unless you have a leap year birthday, in which case
I was gonna say the same thing.
you miss 3, but it's all good.
Yeah, you could be 8. You know, it's fine. Let's see. Okay. Well, yeah, it is 4:00, which means I got to do my fucking Monday afternoon stuff, which I don't really want to. I would rather be streaming, but we don't have enough. We don't have enough members or patrons, guys. We don't have enough members or patrons to keep streaming, even though I don't think we have 90. I don't think we have 89. I gotta check the number here. We're at 77, is what it says.
Oh.
So our number
all
was
right.
off.
That's after my 5. Wow. I'm so sad. People dropping like flies, not renewing.
That's right. They're not
Renewed.
renewing. Somebody
Don't
left
count
the
on
coffee
me to
cart.
renew.
I don't know who else was on a coffee cart member, but we lost one of them. So we
Wasn't
only have
me.
one producer, one coffee cart member, and 75 standard members at the standard level. So yeah, we need more. If you guys want me to stream more or be making more YouTube content, you got to become members. That's how that works. Otherwise, I have to go build cabinets for people out of fucking maple and shit. So I don't starve to death, or my daughter, or, well, Vicky would be fine.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
Paula said she liked the painting video.
Yeah. I mean, or watch videos or share them with your friends. Send them to your grandma. I don't know. Figure out how to send videos out to people. Because I was looking at the content here, and it's very easy to get discouraged, because when you look at like, oh, my video didn't get a lot of views. But the reality is, it's very easy to get discouraged, but it's very easy to remember, oh yeah, go fuck yourself, keep making videos. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. It's much easier to do that than it is to sit and be discouraged, because we got, 500 views, 300 views, 300 views, 200 views. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of views. But
I share.
but who cares is the point. Like, who gives a shit? I have to keep making videos, so I'm going to keep making videos, because it's hardly even about the views. I'm just going to keep making content. And we have 80, well, can I add? Can I do math? 82 plus 77 plus 82. And patrons, I don't know what the number is. I think it's 125 now. But we'll just put it in as 125, because we'll fuck it up and then we'll fix it next time we stream. But yeah, that's where we're at. I probably should have said that at the beginning instead of freaking out and yelling and acting all crazy, because then anybody coming to watch the stream are going to be like, this guy's fucking nuts. I got to go do something else. But either way, good times. Good times this weekend with Bentley. Good time this weekend with Alyssa Bentley. Good time with anybody this last weekend that was named or surnamed Bentley. It was good. The Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, thank you very much for having a great auction, even though I didn't buy anything. I actually didn't buy anything, if anybody was wondering. I bought nothing, mainly because I was like, I got to save my money, and I don't desperately need any of this stuff. So I was like, the combination of those two things were like, just save your money, and we'll be fine. So that's what I did. But that was fun. And what else? I don't know. Next week, we'll be here.
Yes. We will see you then. And you're gone. No, Adams. You are still here. Oh. Actually, I don't think No, once you switch to this screen, I don't think they can because, like, I can't hear the music. I don't know. I could be wrong. Take control. Okay, well, I will make sure to mute myself in the future. Part of it, too, is I didn't see that you had turned the camera off until... Oh, well, whatever. My bail and my credit card numbers. Good luck with that, guys. If you can get some... Hey, if somebody could steal my social security number and better my credit score, more power to it.